I'm going to dominate, and when the time is right, I'm going to take him out.
Do you think it will be a world title shot next?
Big names are world titles. That's all it's going to be from now on.
Welcome to a Boxing Insider special. We're joined here by Chris Eubank Jr., his gym here in Hove. Chris, just a few days out from this huge fight against Liam Williams, live on talkSPORT next weekend. How are you feeling?
I'm ready to go. There's been a lot of talk. There's been a lot of setbacks. A lot of date changes, but yeah, we're finally here and I can't wait to get in there.
There have been a number of postponements. How has that affected you in the build-up to this fight?
It's been tough, you obviously, you're in a camp, you're watching your weight, you're trying to peak, and then you get told that the fight's getting pushed back and it's getting pushed back again, so you've got to reset your schedule, But I'm always in the gym. I live the life, so it wasn't too hard for me to adjust to the date changes. I trained over Christmas and New Year's, so yeah, we're good.
And what remains the goal for you now? Has that changed over the last few years?
Absolutely not. The goal has always been to make it to the top of whatever division I'm in. I'm back down at middleweight, my natural weight, and this year we're gonna take those middleweight belts.
Do you feel like you're due a bit of luck this year after what you went through last year when it comes to postponements with this fight and with previous fights as well?
I think we're on track now for a massive 2022. Everything's lined up perfectly now. We've got this big fight here domestically in Wales, and then after that, make a statement and go and challenge for these world titles and bring them back to England.
We spoke a few weeks ago and you said that you're almost a veteran now when it comes to boxing. This will be your 34th professional fight. I wonder how you'd rank your career so far out of 10.
I'm happy with how everything's happened. Would I have changed anything? No. You live, you learn, you experience things, and I've had a great career. I've done a lot of great things. I've had a lot of great fights, and the exciting thing is, even at 32 years old, there's still so much more to come. And I'm still fresh, I haven't taken a lot of shots in my career, so I don't blow up and wait, so I will have longevity. I'll be able to perform at the highest levels for many more years.
You talk about living and learning. What have been the key things you've taken over the last few years?
You've got to be dedicated. You've got to sacrifice. You've got to make sure boxing is your way of life, not just what you do when you're in the gym, but when you're outside of the gym too. Being responsible, not doing the drugs, not doing the alcohol, not blowing up in weight outside of a camp, which a lot of guys do. And you can do it, but you can only do it for so long. The guys that come up and down, that takes a toll on your body. I always stay in and around my weight, and that's why I'm still able to perform at 32 years old. My father retired around this age, and I've still got so much more left to do. So yeah, it's all about how you live your life.
Are there any things you think you could have done differently in the past, or are you happy with the journey you've been on, and as you say there, the vision of what's to come?
Would I have done anything differently? Listen, would it have been great for me to have met Roy like a few years before I met him? Yeah, but life doesn't work that way. Everything happens for a reason. So I wouldn't change anything. What's meant to be will be, and that's that's how I live my life. Do
you feel like Roy is the final piece in the jigsaw for you now?
I think so. Yeah. I've met him at a time where, I really did need that, extra juice, that extra set of eyes and ears in my camp. He's brought a new energy, into my life, and I'm very grateful for that.
How do you feel about your relationship with the public? We know the fans in Newcastle loved you when you were there recently, signing that microwave, but do you feel you get the love from the fans?
In public, absolutely. It's nothing but love when I'm, in the streets. I definitely have my fair share of haters, trolls, but they stay online. You know, like Liam Williams, they only have things to say with their keyboards or their thumbs on their phones. Live and in person, it's always love. And yeah, you know, all I got to do is keep winning.
Why do you think you have those critics? Maybe it be people online, the likes of Liam Williams. Do you think you're misunderstood at times?
I don't know. It's a crazy one, you know. Even in this fight, you know, I'm somehow the bad guy when Williams is the one that's said all these really, really disgusting things, you know, stuff that I would never say to anybody. But I'm the bad guy. And it's fine, you know, I don't mind being the bad guy. I don't mind going over to Wales and being in a, you know, a hostile environment, a hostile crowd. You know, it's misunderstood maybe, but you know, I've been doing this for a long time. People know who I am. And you know, and that's why, like I said, when I'm in public, it's nothing but love.
Do you mind that at all? I think I heard you say before that you thrive off good energy, but you also thrive off bad energy as well.
Yes, as long as there is an energy in, you know, in the arena, I'm gonna feed off of that. Some guys, if they're coming into someone's backyard or if the crowd are against them, they fold. You know, they can't deal with that pressure or it affects their performance negatively. For me, it makes me fight harder. You know, whether it's good energy or bad energy, I can feed off of it and it fuels my performance. So yeah, I'm excited.
Break down that fight for me against Liam Williams. What do you think happens?
I mean, there's nothing to break down. I'm going to go in there, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to dominate, and when the time is right, I'm going to take him out.
And what will victory give you?
Satisfaction, redemption, you know, silence a few of the haters, a few of the critics, because there's people out there that, you know, saying he's going to beat me up. And I love that. You know, I like when people doubt who I am, what I can do. And it puts me in a great position to then go forward and challenge for these world titles.
Do you think it will be a world title shot next?
Yes, absolutely. It has to be. You know, and if for whatever reason we can't pin one down, then it will be a big name. Big names are world titles. That's all it's going to be from now on.
I know you've spoken about Golovkin in the past, but Billy Joe Saunders is always a name that comes up when they speak about potential opponents for you. Do you think that's realistic? Do you think he would come out of this period of inactivity he's in now and come out and fight you again?
Well, I wouldn't say he's inactive. He didn't fight that long ago. But yeah, that fight is definitely a fight that still interests me. There's too much history, there's too much bad blood for that fight to not, you know, be in my mind. But it's not at the forefront, you know. I want a world title. I want Gennady Golovkin. I want Royalton Murata. If we can't pin those fights down, maybe we'll get the Saunders fight. But yeah, that's all. You know, I don't like to look past my opponents. A lot of guys make that mistake. You know, they underestimate or they're not focusing on what's in front of them. And I'm not that guy.
This won't be your first big domestic dust-up. The ones in recent years against George Groves and against James DeGale. What lessons did you take from those two fights that you can take into this big event next Saturday?
I don't know if I took any lessons specifically. You know, domestic fights are always fun. You know, especially when there's a story. You know, when there's actual real emotion and you know, two fighters don't like each other. You know, most of my career, the guys I've fought, it's always been neutral. It's always been business. You know, and maybe that's a little bit less exciting for the fans when there's two guys in there that have a genuine dislike for each other, you know, and a genuine story behind it. Then it makes the fight a lot more fun, a lot more exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Does that loss to George Groves still affect you, or is it something you were able to get over quite quickly?
No, listen, everybody loses in their career. You know, it's how you deal with the losses. It's how you learn from them. It's how you improve from them. Some guys are never the same after a loss, you know. They lose that energy, they lose that confidence. You know, and the real champions are the guys that learn from their mistakes and they improve and they come back bigger, better and stronger.
I remember the press conference to announce that fight against George Groves, and your dad stole the show that day, didn't he? What sort of role does he have now for you when it comes to boxing?
He's a part of my management team. You know, he's an advisor, and yeah, he'll always be with me.
Has the relationship maybe benefited from not being as close when it comes to your boxing, your training, day in, day out?
You know, he's always been around. I've learned so much from my father, but as I've got older, you know, he's taken a step back because, you know, I've become my own person. You know, early on in my career, I didn't really want to talk too much. I didn't really want to, all I wanted to do was fight. All I wanted to do was prove people wrong. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to do the promotional side of things, you know, as a youngster. So that's why my father was, I guess, there doing it for me. Now that I've been there and I've done it, I've learned from the things that I've done. I know what, you know, I know the steps, I know the process. So now I'm a lot more comfortable being in front of a camera. So my father's taken a back seat.
I guess this is all part of your growth and development as a fighter, but as a man as well.
Yes, you know, you have to become your own man. You know, there's a stage in every man's life where he has to, you know, walk his own path, you know, by himself. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Tell me about your Superfan, Raheem. You seem to have a brilliant relationship.
Raheem, yes, he is. You know, he's an amazing young boy. And yeah, you know, I thank God that he is here with us. Absolutely.
I guess the motivation you get from him is more than any accolades, any belts, any money that this sport could offer you.
Yeah, family is first and foremost. You know, in a world where everyone's doing anything they can to get ahead, you know, it's hard to trust people. You know, and I've learned that the hard way. Family you can always rely on. Family you can always trust and depend on, and that's why I always keep them so close to me.
One thing that impresses me about you, you keep a very close entourage. You've not got masses of people following around. You look here today, it's just you and Roy Jones Jr. Do you find it difficult, or are you reluctant to trust people?
It's not that I find it difficult or I'm reluctant. You just, you know, having you know, a friend to me is a very strong word. I have many associates, you know, I have pals, I have buddies, but a friend, a real friend, there's, you know, they're few and far between. Those are the people that you can count on when you know the chips are down, when you're not, you know, when you're not at your best. You know, the buddies and the pals, they all float away when you're having a rough time. You know, your actual friends, your real friends, they're with you, with your family, alongside your family. So yeah, you know, I don't need, you know, the security and the entourage. I've never really been that type of guy. My old man was the same. He never did any of that. You know, you know, you surround yourself with real people. You know, that are there, that you know are there for you and not for, you know, what they can get from you.
Chris, thanks for your time. We wish you all the best on the 5th of February.
Okay, appreciate it.